the steepest places I've been to on the motorbike. And you miss out on all this sort of stuff. Welcome back, subscribers, and hello YouTube viewers. On this occasion, once again, we're on the corridor for the western sort of suburbs where there's a lot of housing estates being built, and unfortunately any homesteads, or I call them farmlets. Now I think farmlets is more of an Australian term where they're not large farms, they're small farms. It could be someone with a couple of horses or a couple of cows or a handful of sheep or a whole bunch of chickens or something, and they're more like a hobby farm. So I'm going to call it a farmlet, and unfortunately this is one that's been bought up by developers, and that's what I'm surmising as. And unfortunately, if you look behind me, it's been hit pretty hard by the graffitiists and the vandalism people, and also the people who like to dump rubbish. Now they have done their best, I think it's the developers, to sort of cordon off the area so you cannot bring a car here or a truck to unload your waste. But we'll have a look anyway. I'll swing the camera around and you'll get to see how this whole area has already been marked up, and you can see a rough outline of all the lots and where the new roads will go and where the houses are, and it's parallel to a major freeway. So I'll spin the camera around and let's see what we see. So as you can see and hear in the background, we're right next to a freeway, very busy, and unfortunately as we swing the camera around, it is pretty much turned into a bit of a dump ground. It's a shame that that's occurred. Makes it very difficult for the developers, but needless to say, they probably budgeted into their costings that this would most likely be the case. But this is a very large property. It's a timber property, corrugated roof, a lot of sheds, and as you can see, the graffitiists have been through. Anything of value, I'm guessing, is going to be all ripped out of it, and it's totally unlivable. And it's just interesting what you end up finding in some of these properties that could be recycled, unfortunately, but they just don't. So here you have a whole set of car seats. Whether or not they could be steam cleaned, pressure washed, I have no idea. But nonetheless, they're there. This is obviously someone's work space or work shed. And yeah, definitely some sort of small farm, or a farmlet is what I'm going to call it. There is a chimney. And once again, I do believe that the developers sort of indirectly allow this to occur so you don't get squatters in. And the last thing, as I might have mentioned on a lot of the other abandoned sort of properties, you don't want a squatter in, because it's just a pain in the bum to get them out. You do eventually get them out, but it's just a nuisance and an unnecessary cost. So we've got a relatively nice home. Once again, we hope that the previous owner got every, well, not every, but every cent they could have out of the developer, because the small blocks that they build houses on are so small that the developers do make a good quid out of it all. But yeah, it's all been trashed. See, this used to be the kitchen area. That's quite interesting. When's the last time has anyone had a Melways to look up an address? I just noticed that the floor here is slate. So that wouldn't have been cheap to do, but it might have been a product or materials that was easily available or readily available, so it wasn't expensive. All the furniture's still been left in here. I have made my presence felt by yelling out a fair bit, just in case there is someone here that might be suffering from some sort of mental health issue or substance abuse issue, or is wanted for something, that I'm not here to harass. Wow. Interesting, they've got two toilets here. Not sure why you'd have two. I don't think one's a bidet or bidet, but then again, maybe it was. Well, it is a nice day, so we'll definitely be able to get the drone up for sure. There's only a little bit of wind. That shouldn't deter us. And as you can see, someone's really gone to town on the house itself. Barbecue down the end there, bit of a vineyard or a couple of vines, grapevines along the veranda there. Here's our first shed. And it looks like they did sort of keep some sort of livestock here. Chickens, maybe? I'm not sure. But it's all well designed, well maintained, even though it's been abandoned for who knows how long. I'd say maybe chickens, who knows. Now I do like that tank. I'll just zoom in a bit. That's a beauty. That is old. You can see the rivets on the actual tank, how the ends, the caps on the ends have been put on. Wow. Let's go back into the more wider screenshot. I'll just step on this mound up here so you get an idea of so I don't know if you can see that. I'll zoom in a bit. You can probably see a McDonald's way in the distance over there. That's on the major freeway there. There's a petrol stop there. Some excavators doing their thing. You've got some of that yellow or orange, I should say, fencing to cordon off certain spots where the new estate's going to be. There is a railway station very nearby. We'll just go back into here. Now all the rubbish there, all those mattresses, I would say someone's just brought them here and dumped them. I don't think they've come from the house at all. You've got sheeting dumped here. It's a terrific day. Absolutely terrific. Yeah. I think it's called fly tipping, where someone arranges to have their rubbish picked up only for that contractor just to, instead of taking it to the tip and disposing of it properly, they just dump it wherever they can. So they don't have any overheads or any expenses. Yet they probably would have charged the person the fee of taking it to the tip or the transfer station or where they recycle stuff. Oh, yeah. Look, they have done a pretty good job to cordon it off now. I don't think there's going to be any more dumping of stuff because it was quite difficult to get in, even on the motorbike, but it wasn't that bad. So obviously they've got something here to load up livestock onto a truck, I'd imagine. The truck backs up and then they put the livestock through here and load them all up. Okay. Once again, view of the freeway. Such a nice day. I've noticed a lot of people, not a lot, on motorbikes, which was good. Yeah, as you can see, a fair bit of dumpings occurred around here. All right, make our way back to the house. That's about it. This is just going to be a relatively quick video that highlights how that suburban sprawl is making its way to this location. I can tell you the location. I don't think there's any harm done. All the houses that I've seen around here have been pretty much trashed, unfortunately. And it's called Cobblebank. So if you know where Cobblebank is, it's sort of near Rockbank. And between the railway line and the freeway is where a lot of these properties are that unfortunately have been bought up and will be, well, they'll be divided into lots for a housing estate. You can probably see on the other side of the road or of the freeway where another residential estate's going to be started up as well. Land is selling fast, they reckon, on that side. There's just another angle of the house. So it was a pretty large house, and it was associated with a fairly big property or land, I should say. It's interesting how when you go through some of these properties, you do stumble across the same sort of graffiti tags of individuals that go around and graffitiing things. He really made it a private, the previous owner made it into a private compound, because if you look around, he had the sheeting up, they went right around with a small opening just there, and then another fence with high sheeting right around the property. Okay, I'm just going to go into the garage. I always find the garages more interesting than probably the house at times. Oh yeah. It's just interesting how this was actually built. On closer inspection, you'll see that he just used, geez, they look like power poles. I don't know if you can see that, but they look like old power poles, recycled power poles. Especially, yeah. Maybe this will highlight it a little bit better. Yeah, they look like power poles. Just some odd stuff around. That's from one of those caterpillars, like a bobcat, that's on not on wheels but on tracks. And there's a track right here. Interesting to know what the guy did for a living before he left. All right, that's about it. Nothing else to really see. And I just have to make mention that this has most likely been abandoned for quite a number of years now. Okay, so I'll just jump in here. If anyone's curious, like I was, how much land went with this property and how much it was sold for back in 2019, brace yourself because I'll pop that up next. So that's about it with this video. If you did enjoy, by all means, click on the like button or that thumbs up icon. Please consider subscribing. Subscribing doesn't cost you 1 cent and it really does help the channel immensely. But most importantly, stay safe, commute safe and have a great day. And once again, thanks for watching.